My name is Dr. Michael Wilcox. I'm Associate Director of the North Central Regional Center for Rural Development, the NCR-CRD, and we're really excited to host this webinar today. We're poised to break our attendance record, so looking forward to that. I want to introduce my good friends from Ohio State. Today, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence use and extension insights from Ohio. This webinar will share findings from the presenter's 2025 investigation of artificial intelligence, or AI, and as it was used by Ohio State University Extension educators and staff. We're going to talk about challenges, obstacles, efficiencies, and how Extension's human work differs from AI output. These findings may provide insight to extension organizations nationwide, particularly as some funders or partners may see AI as a cost savings means to do this human work. So we're going to hear from my good friend, Brian Raison. We're going to hear from soon to be Dr. Adhikari, who's a graduate student at Ohio State University. And we're going to hear from my good buddy, Tom Blaine, as well. And then next month, we are going to host our good friends from the University of Minnesota. They're going to be talking about civic engagement, the good, the bad, and the learning. That'll be on Wednesday, September 24th at 2 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Central for those guys out in Minnesota and elsewhere. In this webinar, they will address the task of defining civic engagement, and they'll be sharing the University of Minnesota's Extension's community development process model and its connection to experiences working with communities. In that webinar, you're going to walk away with fresh insights from a discussion of important and challenging questions that will deepen your own civic engagement work. And my good friend Jody is going to be leading that, Jody Hornvet, along with her colleagues from the University of Minnesota. Well, without further ado, because we have a lot to talk about today, I'm going to kick things off. And Brian, you've already started up a great conversation here in the chat. We'll be sure to preserve that for you. I think you have a whole other research paper just looking at what's in the chat this afternoon. So go ahead and
Right
take
out
it
of
away.
the chat. Thank you so much, Michael. And we love you all over Purdue. This is awesome. And the NCR-CRD. And I know we've got folks from around the country here. So thanks everybody for jumping in and joining us today. So let's just jump in. We've already started in the chat. So artificial intelligence use. Why does human work still matter? Ray, you want to bump us forward? Thank you so much. So what we're going to do is, so the question that we ask is, how are, and by the way, details are coming out. We've not got very much time today, but details are coming out in a Journal of Extension article, should be in the next issue. We've heard that it's in press and will be coming out soon. So this is just the super rapid fire version. We wanted to know how, this was January of this year, how are extension educators, staff, and administrators using AI today? Now, our friend Paul Hill out at Utah State had an article out last year that talked about, or 2 years ago, that talked about AI having the potential for increasing efficiency. This is within the extension system and other organizations. But they warned that extension has to ensure educators and staff have the necessary knowledge and skills to use this technology and integrate it. So Paul's summary was that there's great potential to enhance programs, deliver personalized advice, but we need to use it smartly. So what did we do? Again, January of this year, we asked educators, staff, administrators, how are you using generative language tools? Because, and this is the key, we wanted to explain why extensions, human intelligence, humanness that we bring is still relevant when some may be saying, do we need to fund extension? We can just ask AI. All right, let's go to the next slide. So quick question for the audience, and I'll pop this in the chat. Why do you think extension's human intelligence work is still relevant when supposedly AI is free? What do you guys think about that? AI is wrong. Thank you, Pat. Right off the bat, boom. I thought somebody might just pop right in there. AI lies, or it hallucinates, which is how we like to call it. Context is everything, and it's not free. Absolutely, I saw that. Doesn't care about success, lies too much. There's a data center cost, syntax generator, no point of view. You guys are good. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. I think Tom is our next presenter to jump into the research design, and you guys can keep looking as we're talking, but y'all are on it. Thank you. So, Tom, take it away.
Well, thanks, Brian, and thanks for everybody that is writing, you know, everybody that's writing all those limitations, why we still need human input. I appreciate a lot of those. That looks great, and we'll get into that in just a minute. I have a lot to say about that in my next go round here in a few minutes. Does perception of human needs? Okay, I really appreciate you all participating with this. Uh, what we think to here is biased. Okay. Uh, all right. First of all, I just want to talk to you right now, though. We're going to back off and talk about how we did the survey of people. We're kind of surveying you all a little bit informally here, but I want to talk about our study and the research design. It was qualitative, and it was targeted to all current OSU Extension employees. That included educators, staff, administration. We sent the invitation to everybody, 1,022 addresses on the internal email listserv using Qualtrics. The response rate was about 19% or so. It's always nice to have a higher response rate, but we do have enough to work with 195 responses. Survey closed on January 13th of this year. If you look at what we had, some of the demographics of the respondents, the largest chunk, we had a big response out of people that haven't been around a long time. Now, a lot of these folks are invariably younger folks that probably more open to AI as compared to people, if you look at the as we go up 21 years plus, we're down to 29 people. 49, however, did not specify. But anyway, we do have people from across the board in terms of years. And the program areas, we have a pretty good representation. We had 5 administrators. And then as far as program area, we've got 10 of us, that would be CD folks. Family and consumer sciences, formerly known as home economics, is 42 is the biggest chunk. 4-H has a big chunk. Of course, that's really important program area, ag and natural resources. So we have people from across the spectrum in terms of years and across the spectrum in terms of subject areas. Again, 53 non-responses on that program area. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Sudarshan, and he's going to talk about a little bit about the data analysis.
Thank you, Tom. So I'm going to talk about the data analysis technique under our methods. So for our data analysis, we conducted standard human coding followed by AI coding. So when we talk about the human coding, we followed that standard qualitative research data analysis protocol, where we organize the data, our raw data, and look patterns or the recurrent ideas or concepts from which we developed the coding system for categorizing. And of course, we did assign the code and then did the human review. And we did not use any software such as MaxQDA and Vivo and none of the other tools. We just did the human review and identify the key ideas and the repeating themes and concepts there. And as an AI experiment, we also did the AI coding where we used the Microsoft Copilot. We use this AI tool because this is we can use this tool at the Ohio State. So we just did our experiment with this AI tool. So for that, what we did was we fed the segments of our raw data based on the questions into the actual AI tool, which is the Microsoft Copilot. And we asked it to code for the thematic elements. So we asked it to do the qualitative analysis and to see whether there are like any differences in the themes that it generates as compared to what we generated from our manual human coding. So this is interesting because, for example, this is just one of the example of human versus AI coding comparison. And there are, we did this for all our interview questions. For one of the questions, as you can see in the example, the codes or the theme generated by AI, which is the Copilot, was almost similar to what we generated in the human coding and what we like found out from our manual data analysis, qualitative data analysis. We can see lack of understanding, ethical concerns, whether AI tool would be accurate or not, technical challenges. So that broad categories, the broad theme, the concept that is developed by the AI tool was almost similar to what we developed. So it was really interesting at that time, and we discussed about this. At that time, we could not find any empirical evidence or any evidence if we can use AI tools for data analysis purposes, and we talked about it, and there were not like any research that talked about it. But for now, because it is from January to August now, and there are a couple of research that actually says, you know what, with human supervision and insights and human thoughts there, we might be able to use AI tools for qualitative data analysis, and we can find a couple publications in this for now. So I'm going to turn this into Tom again for results section.
Okay, thanks, Sudarshan. The results, if you look, 1, 2, and 3 on the human coding, it's we've got writing, and of course the item here is if you currently use AI, share a couple of examples. So writing, and here's what I would like to say I got out of this more than anything. If you look at number 1, first drafts, a lot of people, I've been publishing peer-reviewed journal articles and fact sheets and everything since 1987. And I can tell you that one of the things that faculty have the biggest problem with, including me, is getting started. When you've got to write up your report, you got your stats, you've got everything like that, and you sit down, you might want to write the abstract first, you might want to write the abstract last, but you've got to get started somewhere. And I would say, if I were going to advocate for AI, I would say right there at the beginning, the first draft. In other words, let AI get you started. Now, I know very well that a lot of y'all are saying some of it is wrong, some of it's incorrect, and everything, but that's okay because it's giving you something to go on. Then you can start editing. If it starts spitting something out that's a first draft, and you notice things that are incorrect in it, it's already got you started. And that's a big job. That when it comes to writing, that's huge. Okay, is just getting started. So the first draft, I would say, if I were going to limit AI to one use, it would be, hey, help me get this ball rolling, help me get this train moving. But in any case, we have other things. Let's see. Ask for bullet points. Okay, things like that. Just words that are written down, and things like that, where we can just start kicking the thing off. Because you go to say, okay, I'm going to start writing my report today, and you sit there at the keyboard and you freeze. That's happened to all of us. Uh, anyway, reviews, summaries. Summaries can help too. Like when you get to the end of your paper and you've got a conclusion or summary or discussion, go for it. Ask AI to step in. Their grammar issues and things along that. That's number one. But number 2 and 3 are also writing, social media posts. Okay, here's using it for references. Make sure they're done in the proper style. Wow, that's really to write text and would consider it. Okay. Disagree, reuse for first drafts. The reason first drafts are so hard. So we've got a lot of different ideas and opinions on that, and that's great. In any case, number 2 is grant proposals. 3 is social media. Okay, then we move from the writing component into data, and like summarizing the data from the report or the study that you've done. If you've got data in tables or in the text, and you want to have a section on the analysis of the data or discussion, sometimes that's called discussion. A lot of times that is something that AI can be very helpful in as well. Brainstorming, that's teaching outlines. Starter answers. Fact checking is really critical there. Image generation, design ideas, coding spreadsheets, job searches, and identify related work. When it comes to Copilot AI coding, you've got the coding, technology, the writing assistance, brainstorming, social media, educational content, research, information gathering, image generation, and productivity tools, and a whole bunch of other things besides. Now, as we're seeing here, we've seen some people take issue with this. The data analysis that we had, just like is showing up here a little bit on some of these comments in the chat box, there are greatly divided opinions on whether AI should be used at all. And there are some common challenges that were noted. So, and some of you have already put those in. We were talking about what AI does, and then some people said, hey, but wait a minute, it's not necessarily that great for that. So those are the challenges that were noted. So the question now is, what are the concerns or limitations of AI? AI is not logical. I'm concerned about the environmental costs and impacts. Who owns the intellectual property that AI produces? Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Plagiarism. Plagiarism. If you ask AI to start writing for you an introduction, or should you copy that word for word? Where did AI get that? Did it go searching through the archives and find something and copy it and produce it? And then you write that like that. If that happened, that's really not your writing. And, we are scholars, and all the writing in a report or a paper should be our writing. We cite sources, and that's appropriate, but we're not supposed to take something that generated from somewhere else and pass it on to a report without attribution. do you attribute that, okay, this was generated by AI, et cetera, et cetera? You know, uh, okay, there's an alignment problem. We've got that. Wow, we're getting a lot of great participation here, and a lot of people are concerned. Shifting intellectual jobs work to labor jobs, creating and maintaining AI data centers. Wow. So our audience here, Brian, has really thought quite deeply about this. Becoming dependable AI limits our own human input, digital literacy, those who are seeking responses to questions, a series of journals that make me state that I have not. Wow, that's so interesting. See, we're seeing so many doors open into all the different dimensions of AI use, and we realize now just how complicated this entire topic is. Yes, we're not ready, and we can't say no to it, myself included. Wow, that's really amazing. Can we just go on now to the, okay, K through 12 students already have issues. All right, so let me go ahead while you all continue to do that. And Brian, are you collecting those, or are you noticing those? We might want to come back to that.
Yeah, there's some rich data in the chat that, as Michael said, we'll be able to collect and take a look at afterward. This is really fantastic.
Unbelievable. A lot of ethical questions, but it's here. Jan Steen is saying, cite its sources. Okay. So I can follow up on the accuracy. All right. Say, there you go. Because again, I don't use it for that direct stuff. I use it to get an idea, but I still write the old fashioned way. I clear everything out when I write my reports or journal articles. I sit down just like I would have before. Before I used to read all these journal articles and then start writing from my own words and everything. And if I see something that needs a citation, I go back, okay, that was cited in this particular thing here. Somebody's saying you can ask AI to tell you where its sources were. That's really awesome. I hadn't even thought of that, but I haven't used it that extensively either. But I do use it. Okay, Jody is saying that she does that. Uh, it gives fake source with fake link most of the. My goodness, look at all these. It'll make up links. Wow. These are things I had no clue about. Even if you ask for citations, it generates fake citations. I had no idea about that. That's amazing. Anyway, if we could go back, let's okay. Let me just talk about a summary so we don't get too far behind here. I appreciate everybody putting their concerns in and some of their experiences. But basically, the summary is corresponding to this: accuracy. People are concerned about accuracy, errors, rubbish, misinformation, poor quality. That was the number one thing there. My personal opinion of this, my opinion, these are growing pains in AI. I do not believe if we did this 5 years from now, I don't have a crystal ball, but Brian, I don't believe in 5 years the results of a study like this would show these identical things, because the gains that people are making in AI are just huge. And let me compare it to Google Maps. we all use Google Maps now, I'm assuming. I remember back in the 90s when these MapQuest, it was MapQuest first came out. They were all wrong. Like you would look for a business in a town and it would be 8 blocks from where it was truly located. You know, everything was off, and it just looked like a mess. I can remember it looking like a mess. Now, if I go to Google Maps, if I'm going to drive to Virginia, Maryland, Michigan, Tennessee, those Google Maps are perfect. And it just took time. It was growing pains. And I think with the accuracy problem and the reliability problem, MapQuest is bad. Yes. MapQuest, Google Maps overtook it. Google Maps overtook it. But MapQuest was really bad in the 90s when they first started. Anyway, the reliability it's incomplete, it's biased, it's inconsistent. They're saying what a lot of you all already knew. The ethical issues are plagiarism. You know, AI ask it for a summary. You pick that summary out and print it in your paper. That is plagiarism. I'm just saying it is. But it's not plagiarism just to use it to get an idea, especially when you understand it could be incorrect. It could be, and it could get you moving. Oh, okay, I've read this. Now I'm going to start writing. Copyright infringement, academic integrity, cheating. You know, you give a student a term paper assignment and they go to AI and turn in a term paper that's completely written. Okay, Brian Matthews, you know, that we can do, we can make everything irrelevant. Also, there's not been much training on it. There's nuance. AI lacks nuance. Loss of human. That's, you know, why do humans still necessary? Brian asked. Critical thinking. Critical thinking. You know, that's where humans. Genuine understanding. When you're writing out, if you're reading a peer-reviewed journal article on a topic, you are assuming that that author understands what's being written there, has a true understanding, and is passing that on to you. AI does not have pure understanding. It doesn't have, it might have facts. Some of the facts might be correct. There may be some conclusions, but it lacks, I don't see the word understanding in there, but I see critical thinking, imagination. I don't see understanding. So these things highlight the need, you know, these highlight the need for targeted training and support to facilitate AI expanded use for adoption and extension work. Okay, Sudarshan, it's your turn.
Oh, thank you, Tom. So yeah, I'm going to talk more about the suggestion and conclusion based on our study. And as Tom was talking about, like, what limitation and uses of AI tools are there in extension, I was looking at the chat and also listening to him. And I could see a lot of like uses of AI tool at the same time. There were a lot of frustration while they're using it, right? So it doesn't give the proper citation. It gives us the like wrong links when we ask it for the citations and references and a lot of other things. Also I could see the chats related to ethical concerns, the environmental impact it might have, and things like that. And which is true, and many research has talked about this kinds of thing too. Especially focusing on extension, we asked our respondents, our participants, to make a one-sentence argument for why extension work is still needed in the age of AI, right? So we're gonna show you the examples of the responses. So these are some examples of the responses that we got. And there are a lot more. These are just the selected examples. For example, extensions work provides human connection and understanding that AI cannot replicate, because AI is not a human, right? Human do have empathy, human do have that personal connection, that human connection, which AI cannot replicate. Also, they talk about the trust and integrity as the core of the extension work, because in extension, we get the science-based information, fact-based information, but we still had that trust and integrity part that the AI cannot replicate. That's why extension workers or the extension provide that reliable and validated information, but we're not sure if AI is giving that valid information or the real information, although it is more likely to be, I would say, quote unquote, correct in more like fact-based thing, rather, I mean, instead of some other things. So it really lacks that trust and integrity piece. And our extension is based on the principle of need and interest of people, right? So every community is unique, and extension makes sure that it provides the suggestions and solution to based on the community need and interest of people. But AI lacks that tailored personalized solution context, so it just is more generic and more provides more general information based on whatever is there in the a whole internet, right? So it lacks that personalized personalization context, and that is one of the things that was noted by our participants. And again, extension, of course, bridges the gap between technology and human needs, offering a trusted source for information and support. So our question of why extensions work, the human work, it is still needed in the age of AI. Um, Based on this question, we mostly got the responses like AI not being the human, it lacking, it's lacking of trust, that integrity, that accuracy, and that local specificity that it provides, so that human provide, and also like human experience and expertise that experience provide is not provided by AI, right? So we don't know what AI know and how it knows the things that it knows, right? So it's all about assuming things there, but we don't really know what is going on behind when AI is providing us with that lot of information. That's why we need the human work. So we asked the co-pilot to just as a small experiment, we asked the co-pilot to integrate all the responses that we received, and that question, why human work is still needed in the age of AI, and it provided us a like large paragraph, and we asked that again, can you provide a little bit concise version of this? And it provided like couple sentences, and finally upon three four when we asked like three four times to like summarize what why extensions work is still needed, this is what Copilot gives. So sort of AI is itself agreeing human thoughts and human trust, and that personalized help is required when it comes to the extension work. So and this can be really important when we talk about our partners, and the extension as a whole, as a broad concept in our communities, right? So what if we really can use AI tools, or AI can like replace what we're doing now? So I think the response of AI itself demonstrates what it is and what it is doing, right? So even if it is like summarizing what our participant says, I think this sentence has really given that understanding of why AI is still needed in the age of AI. And based on our findings, and there are a lot of other questions that we asked in the research, but overall, based on our findings, we have some suggestions and conclusions for our study. The first one being related to the outlining the strategies for adoption and utilization of AI. So we should make some strategies or plans before we actually start using AI randomly or out of nowhere, because it might have those ethical considerations that we might not be considering when we're using the AI tools in extension. So we should continue research to expand understanding how AI works and how we can use AI ethically. And we also should be exploring the uses and implementation barriers of those AI tools. As I said, the ethical concerns, including biases, privacy concerns, and the transparency. And we talked about the patent and plagiarism and these kind of concepts earlier too. So we should have a proper strategies for when it comes to the AI adoption, which may make our extension work more reliable and establish the extension work as reliable as it is currently. The other suggestion that we have is in the next slide. We can talk about the training extension workers on the use of AI, because one of the thing that we might use AI tools incorrectly is that we do not have that sufficient understanding of how to use AI tools, right? And it may not work all the times, but there are some cases where we might just provide AI tools the prompts that it may not understand or that may be confusing. So at times there are instances where we should be training extension workers on the AI use. If it is, I mean, it can be related to the ethics, biases, and privacy related to the AI tool, but still, that training provided to the extension workers can help them determine or identify what is ethical to do and what is not ethical to do, what we can do without having any privacy or biases concern, or how we can do that. So also exploring the extension personnel's willingness to learn to incorporate AI tool is also important. And finally, the summarizing and sharing the current ways that extension employees are leveraging, because we should understanding how extension workers are using AI tools to have a more deeper understanding of how it can be used in the future. Finally, not only the extension workers, but there's a need to educate the public as well as our extension partners on AI use and its limitations. For example, we can outline extension's aim of cautiously leveraging AI as a tool and emphasizing the continuing need for human oversight when we use the AI tool, because I think the whole one central point of whatever we're talking today about our research is that how we can use that human oversight even if we're using AI tool, right? Or how we can ethically use that AI tool, or what are the conditions that, and help us think what are the conditions that we might use AI tools in. So I think we should be really educating public as well as our partners too about those accuracy, application of information, copyright, misinformation, that is possible misinformation from AI tools, and things like this. Finally, the critical nature of the context and local connection in extension is really important. We're not just going to use AI tools randomly because someone just said that it is useful in some context, or they might have done some work using that tool and it was fast for them. Extension is really unique and context specific, where we really value the needs and interests of the local people. So it is important to understand that critical nature of the extension, the context and local connection when we are using or considering the use of AI tool in extension. So I would turn this to Dr. Raison for, and if anyone has any questions. So for any of us, I would request that, and I request Dr. Raison to facilitate the further session. Thank you.
Sudarshan, thank you so much. If you would, Mary, back up one slide just for a second on that last slide. I think this is the critical piece, because in today's funding nightmare, today's funding changes, which seem to be happening all the time at all levels, local, state, federal. in the crazy advancement of this technology. And it's powerful. And as some folks did say in the chat, it's very helpful. It can really help us. It can help our students at Ohio State. We actually have an initiative for all classes, all coursework to have an AI component so that we're helping students understand and wrangle how to use AI and to incorporate it into their work and into the topic specific of each course that we're teaching at Ohio State. That's from our president. And so there's powerful opportunity, but our partners, our funders, and the public need to understand the difference. And so I think this is probably the most critical thing that we found is that we need to, just as we help communities, farmers for 150 years interpret the research and the science that's coming out of our land grant institutions, I think we need to help folks interpret and understand what is coming out of AI. And I think that may be one of the biggest things that we found, that context. Someone had said in the chat, whatever it was, it struck my mind, explicit knowledge versus tacit knowledge. The context that Sudarshan just was mentioning right there at the end. I think that's a critical thing. We've got about, I don't know, do we go till 3? So 10 or 15 minutes. In the chat or unmute and ask. Let's just have a conversation. If you want to stop the screen share, we can see folks, Mary. I did see one question that came up in the chat. And so if you want, maybe we'll start with that. It said, how or when do you feel it's necessary to disclose the use of AI? And certainly, if you look at our journals, and Tom mentioned this earlier in his section, journals are now, almost all of them have explicit statements about AI use and that disclosure process. Does anyone have a comment on that question that came through? And then we'll jump to the chat with some of the other questions that are coming in. How do you disclose the use? What do you guys think? I can tell you what I tell my students, my undergrad and grad, and colleagues. I mean, just as I'm talking with them, which we do a lot because we're doing this study, use it as a tool, but tell people how you've used it. And so in my assignments, my writing assignments, I've shifted them to get very specific about personal examples of things that they've done. You know, most of my grad students are adults. A lot of them are extension folks who are continuing to a master's or a PhD. And so I asked for their examples. And so I guess AI could make it up, but I want that personal context. So that's one of the ways I do that. But asking them to use it for ideation, to get started, you know, all that's legit. Specific AI tools for extension, Tom, Sudarshan, or anyone. I mean, the ones that are out there, the chats, the co-pilots, we do at our institution have a guideline. We may not put institutional data or sensitive data, and certainly we don't want to put research data that may be coming out in a journal article or that may be proprietary out into the public text generators, generative AI, because nobody knows what happens to it. Well, we do know what happens to it. It's out there. And so if you're drafting an article or something, it may go into the ether and show up somewhere, who knows. So at Ohio State, we have some approved generators that are closed systems. Some argue they're not as good, but that's just a thing. And Christian just put a thing on extension.org. Yeah, extension.org has great tools and resources. Tom or Sudarshan, do you see a question in the chat you want to jump in on? Best reasons to use AI, somebody asked, save time.
Yeah, I would say let's see, I'm trying to do the pronunciation Oluwatami, Oladuni. If you see that question there, what would you say is the best reason? So if we had to, if we, we did a lot of things. We had a lot of bullets. We had a lot of, we talked about getting started and doing all this and doing that. But what would you say is the best? I like that way that Oluwatami phrased that question, and I would pose it to anybody that wants to. I'm not going to answer it myself. I'm too far into this thing to do that, but I would try to encourage, Sudarshan or Brian or anybody on the, online right now. What would you say is the best reason to use AI? Jody answered, I think here, save time, do more. Okay, what about you all? What's the best reason to use AI?
So, for me, I think when we're talking about saving time, it really relates to what we're saving time for. So, to do what, right? So, if we're saving our time to write a sort of more formal research or formal report writing, can we really use that reliably in extension or in any anywhere? Can we use that for just generating content and not having human oversight? And I think this is the point of whole research. But for me, talking about the if we are using AI tool, I use AI tool for coding a lot, not qualitative research coding, but quantitative data analysis coding. So it provides you with the explanation of so what this code means, right? So what did I just do in R or Stata or any other data analysis software, right? So and coding is not always the thing that everyone may understand. So it's really helpful to understand the coding and how it works most of the time. And also when we're doing the interdisciplinary works, I guess. So if I'm doing some research, which also includes someone from, let's say, engineering department, but we're still collaborating in a project, in a research that is helpful for our audiences, right? So in that case, I don't know anything about, I mean, I know about the content that is on my part, but I don't know anything about what that engineering person is going to do in my team itself, right? So we don't have that technical understanding all the time. So I think it would be really interesting to have that general idea of how things works in the interdisciplinary situation. So just to understand, okay, we're doing this research and we are having a person from the engineering department or some other department, and they are doing this, but I'm not sure what these things mean, right? So I think it can help you simplify things in the general condition. But when the things starts become a little bit specific, like because we said extension provides the tailored information to the audience, that might be a little bit tricky because because they might not be give what is the best answer to them. But in the generalized situation, I think AI does a pretty well job. I mean, it may not be like the best version of what human can do currently, but it really saves a lot of time when we do that for the general works that is yeah, that we're doing.
And Sudarshan, is funny, the Christian popped in the chat there, the tough question. Are we saving time to do other things, better things, fewer things? Or are we saving time that we didn't have in the first place? Um, that's quite good philosophical question. Yeah, someone mentioned the environmental costs. And then the prompt writing, someone also mentioned, I saw that pop up or run through. Um, as you learn to write prompts, and again, Paul Hill at Utah State has just done a tremendous amount of work on this and has some great stuff. As we improve our prompt writing, we can dramatically improve the outputs and what we receive from AI. And so that's one of the things that we talked about, training, the need for training. our colleagues, ourselves, and the public, so that people understand how to ask better questions so that they can get better responses. Because it's certainly a powerful tool and has great potential. Tom mentioned the maps and how they improved over years and over time. And so this certainly has that potential. But there are quite a few cautions that are very near to the surface right now. Just looking at a few more things in chat.
So, basically, in here, LG, that's Louisa Gerasimo. Someone told me recently they are only working 2 to 3 days a week. So we're talking about saving time. Okay, if AI can save all this time, what do we do with it? Well, we just quit working. And in fact, in 10 years, maybe this meeting, there won't be any humans. None of the humans will be here. It will be all of the bots exchanging. You see what I'm saying? AI is going to put us all out of work because, you go into a seminar, an extension, right, at annual conference, and somebody's giving a presentation on food safety. Well, why would they do that when you've got a little speaker or an AI machine or robot or something like that that's programmed to know more about food safety than the top 100 experts on food safety in the world? And they're giving the presentation and they can comprehend questions. I mean, there are a lot of people in AI who are saying we're not that far away from that. We're just a couple of years from AI developing to that level where it can do virtually every job, yeah,
and
including
that
surgery,
that
brain surgery.
And that was way beyond our survey. We just wanted to find out today, and I guess we're 3 minutes. We need to wrap. And so we just wanted to kind of get a handle on how it can be a better tool and how we can help our audiences understand the value of extension that is pretty clear, still needed today because of that context, that relationship, that trust. And so as the future continues, Tom, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to continually change, and we know that. And so, Tom, I
Brian,
think what you were saying is exactly right. Yeah, Tom.
Brian, speaking of that, Sonia Fuchs says this is a good self-referential thing. Ask AI to summarize the chat. Did you see that? Ask
Yeah.
AI to summarize the chat because we had so many things. We're doing AI. Can AI summarize all this chat? I've tried to go down through here. We've all tried to address everybody's points, but
And
we
it
didn't get a
can,
chance
yeah.
to do that. Can we go about doing that at some point?
We can't this moment because we've only got 2 minutes. But let's turn it back over to Michael Wilcox. I love it. Thanks for pointing that out, Tom. Because we'll capture the chat and we will
Yeah.
take a look at it because there's
Yeah.
some really good data in there. So I just want to thank everyone again. Thank you, NCRCRD. Michael, take it away.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. You did a fantastic job. It was really interesting. Maybe I can entice everyone to come back to the website in a couple days when we upload the recording of this webinar, and maybe we can put a little Easter egg in there with an AI summary of what went down in the chat. That we could always do something like that. But this is very interesting. I would say it's tip of the iceberg. We've been talking a lot about AI as the semester started here at Purdue University, and I know that it's a hot topic everywhere. We will be sharing the recording of this here in a couple days on the NCRCRD website. If you search NCRCRD webinar, you'll go right to our page. maybe Mary or Shelley can throw the link in there before we shut down for the day. But again, a very robust discussion today, really interesting information. Looking forward to seeing the journal article when it comes out in the Journal of Extension here in the coming month. And let's continue to keep in touch on this subject. This is definitely not the last time that we're going to be talking about AI for sure, and its use in extension and potential impacts. So everyone, take care. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month for September's webinar. Take it easy, everyone. Thanks.